In the legal world, there is a combination of forces that feed a corrupt and suffocating legal system for attorneys. Law schools, law professionals, judges, and even the firms themselves for whom you work create a system, a matrix, if you will, that is nothing like what you thought when you passed the bar exam. The purpose of this podcast is to help you escape this legal matrix, leading you out of the proverbial desert to be free of the bondage of the matrix. Hosted by Bryce D. Nyer, attorney at law with over 30 years experience in the trenches of civil and criminal litigation at the state, federal, and international levels. He's a highly accomplished and resourceful legal professional, a true master of his craft, and he's here to help you get your life back. Here's your host, Bryce D. Nyer.
All right. It's another episode of Escape the Legal Matrix with yours truly, Bryce D. Nyer, coming at you live from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg. That's right, Fort Bragg. So we've got a extremely interesting topic tonight, and I'm going to take a bet here that most of you have thought about this topic many times. And the topic tonight is walking away. Yeah, walking away. Maybe running away. Maybe just running like Forrest Gump. So let's talk about this subject of walking away. So look, I got to tell you, there are times in my life, personally and professionally, I just wanted to get in my vehicle, grab my dog, and head off to the ocean somewhere and ditch my cell phone, no computers, no laptops, and just honestly walk away from everyone, everything, and everybody, the profession, all of it. Just fed the hell up. Fed up. Done. D-O-N-E, D-O-N-E. Done. That's right. I mean, done. I mean, and I'm going to tell you something. For you law students, you young lawyers, and even, well, no matter what profession it is, you do something long enough, and you're going to get fried. You're going to get burned out. Even if you love it, there's just going to be a time when you're going to wake up one day and you're going to just look in the mirror and you go, what am I doing? Where'd my life go? And I got to tell you, life, it flies by. I mean, today you might be 25, tomorrow you're 65, 70, 75. And it's just, it's flown by, and your runway continues to grow shorter and shorter and shorter. And this feeling, I have spoken to many of my colleagues in the legal profession in this legal matrix, and I've spoken to some of my other friends in different professions. And I got to tell you, a lot of people just sit there and say, it's just not worth it anymore. It's just not worth it. Missing vacations, missing dental appointments, missing medical appointments, missing family events, missing travel. And for what? For what? To chase the inbox, to respond to all these emails, most of which are worthless, to, trying to chase the almighty dollar, which I'm going to tell you, it's not going with you. It's not. And I was thinking about this last weekend as I was sitting down going over what I'm going to get done between now and December 31st of this year and then next year. And the significant things that I wish to get done called this impossible game. And I just sat there and I thought, man, sometimes I want to walk the hell away from it all. I don't want to see another client. I don't want to talk to another person. I don't want to deal with another problem. I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I just want to sit and watch the ocean and just get away from it all. But I realized that, well, I just can't do that. I can't just up and run away. I've got too many responsibilities and obligations, at least right now. And that perhaps that's just not the answer. I mean, it's okay to, kind of look and, maybe look at the ocean and go, man, I'd really like to just live there. And perhaps maybe that's your impossible game, to live on the ocean and maybe do something else. But I want you all to know, if you're feeling that way, if you're feeling at times where you just want to walk away from everything and everybody, I think everybody does that. I think that's something that's normal, that happens. Some people may disagree with me, but again, I talk to so many people, and I'm telling you, they're just fed up. They're done. And these people aren't really, very old. I mean, they may have started in their careers in their 20s and early in their 50s, which is still relatively young today. And they're just like, damn, dude, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to retire. I want to quit, or I just want to take a year off and go sail somewhere and, just travel and do stuff, because this rat race, the rats are winning. And truth be told, it is a rat race, and the rats are winning. And you've got to figure out how can I kind of walk away from all this, but not really walk away. I mean, for most of us, we can't just quit our jobs. I mean, you could quit, but then you got to replace the income. You got to pay bills and everything else. And you may have children, minor children. Maybe you have grandchildren. I don't know, you're caring for, and other obligations that you have to pay for. So it's not necessarily that simple unless you're, a huge entrepreneur worth millions or billions, and you can just do whatever you want. Or you're a trust fund baby and you're mooching off the family legacy. Man, I wish I had one of those, but I don't. And probably you don't either. So, for millions of Americans in this country, the reality of just perhaps walking away from everything, it's not going to be exactly possible. It's just not. But I want you to know out there, you law students and you young lawyers starting out and going to war against the legal matrix, if you're not careful and you're not monitoring these domains of body, of being a balance in business to where you never have fulfillment, there will come a day. There absolutely will come a day when you just may, just go all in and go, I'm walking the hell away. I have seen people do it. I have seen people just completely shut down and quit a state job, a federal job, or their practice. They just said, I'm not taking more clients. They fired their staff. They withdrew from their cases, and it took them a couple months, and they just shut down. They were done. They're just done. And you have to be careful, because you may get to that point one day. And what that shows is that you haven't changed the phraseology, the frame in which you look at life, at people, places, and things, the nouns in your life, okay? And so when you don't do that, when you don't take a true assessment of where you are, then you don't know where you are. And so this was one of the greatest things that happened to me when I joined Wake Up Warrior, and when I am doing Pivot, or when I'm, talking to my producer, Bryce Prescott, and other people that have been in industries. And, one of the key things in dealing with Wake Up Warrior and Pivot and with my producer for my podcast is that you have to take assessments of where are you right now? Where are you embodying being balanced in business? And once you assess where you are, then you have to come up with this action plan. And sometimes you just can't walk away from all of it. There will be things that you need to walk away from, people you may need to walk away from. For example, maybe stop drinking, stop doing illegal drugs, stop watching porn, and start doing things. What actions do you need to stop, and what actions do you need to start? What do you need to sustain? These are questions that we went through in Wake Up Warrior, and they're legitimate. They're the better questions. And there were times when I said to myself, what do I really want? And sometimes I answered, I just want to walk away. I want to walk the hell away from marriage. I want to walk the hell away from responsibilities. I want to walk away from dealing with people's problems. I want to walk away from, the roller coaster of the legal way of life, the legal matrix. I just wanted to walk away. But then I realized if I walk away and I just left it all behind, I would be surrendering to the forces that destroy people in those domains of body, being, balance, in business. And God doesn't like people who surrender. He doesn't. He equips us with intelligence. He equips us with skill sets for those that, are seeking faith and trust. He does. And he gives us talents and asks us to persevere, to help us grow, to meet those challenges. And I get it. Sometimes you're going to feel so overwhelmed. And I've had people say, I hate that term, overwhelmed. Well, there's a reason why overwhelmed is in Webster's dictionary, because it's a real word and it's a real thing. It just is. And sometimes you do get overwhelmed. You have too many tasks you're trying to handle, or you have too many pits in your life or tsunamis coming at you that just one right after that just beats you down. Kind of like in the Bible with Job. And in the Bible where God allows Satan to cause him major pain and inflictions and all kinds of horrible things to test his faith. And Job does not surrender his faith. He does not walk away. He does not give up. He still praises God. And he doesn't surrender to the dark side, to the dark forces. He doesn't surrender to the pits and the sedations. He doesn't. And then God rewards him. So there are going to be times, many times perhaps in your life and in your career, that you're going to see that blinking sign that says just walk away, walk away. Now remember, there's a difference. Like sometimes if you're in marriages that are violent and abusive, you have to walk away. If you're in an organization that's doing something illegal, you may have to walk away. That's a different type of walking away. That's a necessity that you have to, because you may lose yourself. You may even lose your life, your livelihood, your freedom. What I'm talking about here is when life is just battering you down in all of these domains that you just feel like, I just want to surrender. I just want to just walk away and just leave it all behind. And see, I went through this for a time when, going through a divorce, when I just looked at all the material possessions, you know what? I didn't care. Didn't want any of it. None of it. Could walk away from it. I just didn't care. These things didn't matter to me. What mattered to me was me. And things don't fulfill me. They just don't. Swanky houses don't fulfill me. And I'm not being flippant. I mean, there are people that have no homes, no water, no medical or dental care. And I'm blessed to have what I have. I've worked for what I have, but I'm blessed. And so are other millions of Americans and people around the globe, versus those that are in poverty and disease, and are dying of horrible diseases and in horrible circumstances. But what I'm saying is that when you have the ability to go out and make the world better and help other people, you can't just walk away. God expects us to not just help ourselves, but to take the skills and the gifts that he gives us and to go out and help those who are downtrodden and cannot help themselves. Now, that doesn't mean you have to wallow in other people's self-pity or their own depression and get down in the gutter with them and then you become like on the Titanic and sink with them. No, you have to be a life preserver to yourself so that you can help others save themselves by being there, by encouraging them, by mentoring them, by giving them skill sets themselves so they can stand on their own, stand up and be counted and be heard. But you will be tempted to walk away. You will be tempted in this profession to just say, I'm done and I just can't do it anymore. And then you've got to really look at it. What are the reasons? Why are you making such statements, and are they legitimate? And maybe they are. Maybe, we do things for too long. You just have to know your limitations. And maybe sometimes it's time to take a different path. And maybe it's a different sole purpose. And you've put your time in for the profession that you're in. And now it's time to give yourself some grace and some space. And maybe it's a different type of walking away. Maybe it's kind of like retiring. You retire from perhaps a particular job or profession, but you go do something else with your time. So you're not truly retiring from life. You're just retiring from one activity, one profession, and going to do something else. So you have to change that phraseology. And I bring this up because this was just such a huge discovery for me last weekend as I was down at the coast and talking to good friends of mine, people I love, and professionals and consultants. And I'm having these conversations of, where I'm going to go for the rest of this year and then next year and all the events that are going on in my life. And part of me just said, I just want to sell everything. I want to downsize everything. I want to simplify everything. And I just want to quit being a rat in the rat race. But you have to do it responsibly. You have to really think about it. And don't get me wrong. Again, I know people who just made a radical decision and said, I'm done. Don't need to plan. Don't need to do nothing. I'm walking out the door. I'm done. That's it. And that's what they did. And maybe that's the way you're feeling. So what I'm going to suggest to you, especially you law students, you young lawyers, you've got to do the self-audit of your domains of body, being, balance, and business. You have to do this constantly. If you don't do this, you're going to fall into this pit of where you become the walking dead. So the only walking you're going to do is you're just going to be this lifeless form spitting up on yourself or having a stroke or a heart attack one day, and your life's going to be done. It's going to be over. And the woulda, coulda, shouldas, you're going to be gone. That's why I'm going to be saying that woulda, coulda, shoulda, blah, 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 blah. I've done that. So I want you to ask the better question. Where in your world is it that you just want to walk away? And in that area, is it legitimate? Is that truly what you need to do? And what does walking away look like? How do you define that? How do you define that? If you do this, if you do that, if you answer these type of better questions, then your life is going to lead you to fulfillment. Because remember, as we've talked so many episodes ago, you have to answer the question of, what do I want? What do I want? Because once you answer that question, everything else becomes irrelevant. And when all those other things become irrelevant, you've already done the walking away from the things and the people and the events, whatever it is, whatever noun it is, whatever activity it is. You've walked away, but you've done it the right way with clarity and focus. All right, so ask that better question. Where in your world should you walk away? Is it a person? Is it a place? Is it a thing? Is it an event? Activity? What is it? Answer that question. I'd like to hear your feedback. Get back with me. All right, this is Bryce Dyer. We've been coming at you live from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg. Where what? Say it. Where every day men and women don the uniform and wage war against enemies that would love to take our freedoms away, the freedoms that we so often take for granted, and we should never take them for granted. This is Bryce Dyer, and I am out of here.